Hello, I'm Wiregrass. I am the trauma specialist at Wiregrass Angelhouse, and I just wanted to take a moment to share a little, hopefully helpful video to explain something I often hear people say when maybe they say it about themselves, but often someone else says it about them when they're going through grief or grief recovery, trauma recovery, whatever may have them in a state of distress that's not normal for them. I often hear people say because these times the person can be moody, and because their emotions are on a roller coaster, and it's not uncommon for people when they're on this roller coaster to go through mood swings, perhaps several times during the day, and people around them will sometimes say they need help because they're bipolar, and they'll call them bipolar. Maybe someone will call himself or herself bipolar because they know they go through mood swings, and they think that because of the mood swings, that means that they're bipolar. First of all, bipolar is a very real thing. It's in the DSM-5, which is the Diagnostic Manual for Psychological Disorders. But every time a person's moody, or if they go through a season of being moody, doesn't mean they're bipolar. In fact, the criteria for bipolar is very well documented in the DSM-5, and many times it has to do with the severity of the symptoms as well as the duration of the symptoms. And so a fairly good test of whether or not a person is bipolar is, were they like this before the trauma? And if they were not, then chances are you're not dealing with bipolar, you're dealing with someone who's just struggling getting through a crisis situation in their lives. So be careful with these diagnoses, even if it's a self-diagnosis because you're experiencing mood swings in the wake of trauma, or as you're working through grief. That's normal to go through mood swings then, because psychologically you're trying to figure out what happened. You're trying to make sense of it. You're trying to come to the place of accepting it. You're probably struggling, especially if it's a loss due to the actions of others. You're struggling with the question of justice or fairness. Where's the fairness in this? And usually that question follows the statement, well, they were a good person, or they were an innocent person, so where's the fairness in this? When you're going through these things, you're going to experience mood swings. So be careful is all I'm saying with trying to diagnose yourself or trying to diagnose someone else that you know is struggling with grief right now, with trauma, and just automatically giving a knee-jerk diagnosis of, well, they're bipolar. Because really that's not helping anything unless someone is bipolar and they can follow that up with treatment. Otherwise, what you're doing is just dismissing them. And when someone's going through trauma or grief, the last thing they need is to be dismissed. They need to be heard. They need to have someone who will just be present with them to walk through it with them. And another good indication you're not dealing with bipolar is that the symptoms get better with time, and the moodiness will get better with time. So I just encourage you, be cautious with these labels, and recognize that when you're going through trauma or you're going through grief, that is not the normal experience. That's an abnormal experience. And with time, you should gravitate back into the norm. All right, that's it for today. Have a great day.